Southbridge, and welcome to another episode of Southbridge Meets. Today's guests will focus on community resources that you may not be familiar with. The Worcester County Sheriff's Department is a multifaceted organization. Today's West Boylston facility, which opened in 1973, has the capacity to house over 1,000 inmates and a staff of over 600 correctional officers and civilians. But beyond being a place for pretrial detainees and inmates serving 2.5 years or less, it has taken a more dominant role as a resource for those in custody, their families, and members of the community that need extra support. Under the direction of Sheriff Lou Evangelidis since 2011, there have been many changes. Sheriff Lou, as many of us know him, is dedicated to the rehabilitation of inmates as well as serving the cities and towns of Worcester County. He emphasizes the importance of drug and alcohol rehabilitation, community service programs, and preventative programs like Face-to-Face. He hopes that by strengthening these programs, inmates will be released with the skills they need to become productive citizens. Recidivism will be reduced, and our communities will be safer places to live. Today we learn about the Worcester County Sheriff Resource Center in Webster and its impact not just on the clients, but the communities in which they live, and possibly you. So we welcome Jajliardo, the Program Director for the Regional Resource Center in Webster, and our very own Sheriff Lou Evangelidis. Welcome. Thank you for coming to the studio today.
Thank you.
We want to thank you for your time. A very important topic that we're going to cover today, and the part that you play in all of this here in the community. Our viewers, just a note to you that while we are not on site at the facility today for some privacy reasons, we will be showing photos throughout this episode that refer to the topics that we're discussing. So just mention that because we'll be having a lot of drop-ins of some great photos that we have from the center. So the center opened in 2015, and could you tell us a little bit about the evolution of the program and its location in Webster?
Sure. So thank you for having me on, Denise. You've been a long-time friend, and I love the work you do in this community and the Southbridge Cable News and all the work you do keeping people informed. So it's nice to be back in the studio.
Thanks.
No, I've been here before. It's nice to be here with you and get a chance to talk about what I think is one of the most important things we do. Being blessed to be sheriff, obviously my primary job is to run the Worcester County Jail and House of Correction. And we've had anywhere from 700 to 1,200 inmates there on any given day. And our job is to keep those people off the street, give those people an opportunity to rehabilitate themselves if they're not going to state prison. So when they get out, our community is a better, safer place if they can benefit from the programs we provide. But there's a whole other part of what the sheriff runs, and this is the innovative part that we're on today to talk about, and that is there are 3 regional reentry centers. So to make it simple, Webster has a center, as does Worcester and Fitchburg. Those centers are when people appear in the court before the judge with probation, and they may find them to be either guilty or pretrial, but under probation supervision. They'll say, rather than send you to prison or put a super high bail on you and put you in prison, they're going to give you an opportunity to go and see the sheriff's reentry services at the Webster, for example, the reentry center. So at that center, you'll come in, you'll be under the supervision of probation and a judge, but you'll come to us and we'll hold you accountable. It's not babysitting. We will drug test you, we will check on you to make sure you're compliant, but we also provide you services like educational services, job training skills. We'll set you up with mental health services if you need them. A lot of things that will help keep people out of prison, by the way, at about a $70,000 a year cost, keep you in a supervised care in the community for a fraction, usually between $5,000 and $10,000 a year, while you're also not learning bad behavior in a jail. You're obviously at home, you're feeding yourself, you're taking care of yourself, you're around your family, and hopefully you're going to be behaving because we're going to have you under a probation and you're going to have a structured program. So that program, we have built those over the years, and frankly the one we had in Webster when I first took over was very underperforming, and I attribute that a lot to why I was elected, because they knew that the sheriff's office could do better. I promised I would do better. I won't get off on that. But you know that I told people we're going to do it right. We're going to get rid of patronage politics, which that office was filled with, and we're going to bring in professionals, and we're going to work on public safety. So the center was so poorly run that ultimately I agreed with our co-directing agency called probation, called OCC, Office of Community Corrections. They said, look, we got budget cuts, we got a few offices. I agreed, close Webster, it's not working. Then I got invited a few years later to be part of a group that wanted to help solve the opioid issue in Webster. So then it became, what could we do? And it soon transferred into the idea of the sheriff reopening a center, but doing it under our way, with our employees, dedicated people. And there was a lot of pushback, I'll tell you, if anybody's around. Yeah. 2015 was an election year, and all of a sudden all the politicians around there started turning on us and saying we didn't know the sheriff's bringing all these bad people to Webster, and nothing could be further than the truth. What this center was going to do, and as I pointed out when I came down that night to talk to the 100 or so people at Town Hall, I said, I passed my cousin's grave sites when I came into Webster that day. My father was baptized in the church in Webster. I love this community. I would never endanger this community. This is the type of center that will give you incredible amount of security and safety, because you're going to have people who would be at home, idling away on probation or incarcerated, instead being in a very proactive center where we offer people the opportunity to stay out of prison but be held accountable and take advantage of the programming of the dedicated team there. So I sat at that meeting with Pastor Janice Ford and Judge Bebo and Police Chief at the time Bent and Crystal Torres, who was one of the community leaders of families who have been touched by addiction and recovery. And we explained to them what we wanted to do. And frankly, not only was there no pushback after we explained it, every community in Massachusetts would want one of these centers. We don't have the resources. So we've been operating now for 9 years. I can look you right in the eye and tell you, as far as I'm aware, police chiefs, one after another, have come through, said this is the best thing we have, no issues, no problems, reduction in crime, and offer incredible services. And Erica has come on board to be the director in the last few years. She's just kept it going onward, upward. I think we've helped over 8,000 people, yes. Wow. And we've done so many. We have graduations, and we promote and celebrate the accomplishments of people that go through the program. So it's a great program. It's a long answer to a short question, but it's important to let people know the history. This is a great center, and it's innovative things that sheriffs do, and Worcester County particularly, I think, does it well.
Well, that's quite a bit of information, and there's always a backstory. So thank you for sharing that with our viewers. And I mean, it really is good information to have. But so now you have a center. It's been serving everybody well for quite 9 years, you're saying, which is wonderful. I understand that there are 4 key areas that the center focuses on. Case management, as we kind of touched on a little bit, education in groups, transportation, which I found was interesting as a topic, and lab testing. First thing, I guess the first question I might have with that is, how did you come up with those items as focus points, as something you really focus on at the center? And then could you tell us about the importance of each of those?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think as the sheriff had mentioned, I think we were asking what the community wants, because we're really serving the community. That's really what we're trying to do. We serve all of South Worcester County, so that's over 36 towns that we serve. One of the things was transportation. That's something that's a barrier for a lot of people, is transportation. So we have, proudly to say, 3 vans and 3 full-time drivers. Wow. So we bring them to court. We'll bring them to our center for education purposes, case management services. We'll bring them door to door. If they have no transportation to our center, we'll bring them from their home or from a recovery program that they're in and bring them to our center, or bring them to court to meet with a probation officer. We will do that as well, to and from. And it's a very gentle way of, all of our staff, and I do have to say, all of our staff are just really compassionate. There's no judgment. They're just really a good team to work with. They all have professionalism, as well, but just that compassion for our clientele and just really not shaming them is something that I'm proud of. As far as the transportation goes, education is something that is, key for a lot of people. And we have a great education specialist at our center. He's been there for a number of years now, and since he's been there, I've actually, looking at the stats, we've had over 90 graduates since 2015. Wow. So that's something to be said. And like the sheriff was mentioning, we do a nice graduation ceremony. Their families are invited, which is great, and it kind of just shows. And then some of the family members have cried. Some members have come up to me and to the sheriff and just said, like, thank you so much for, I never thought my son or my daughter would accomplish something like this, and the pride that they have, is something. As far as the lab testing goes, we work with the 4 area courts within South Worcester County. Okay. We work with them closely with their probation departments. So the probation departments, we we'll send a referral over for drug and alcohol testing at our center that is observed. And then we send the court results as well. So we'll send them. So we have a close relationship with the court probation departments, along with the judges of the 4 area courts that we work with.
If I could even add on to Erica, because when we started, you mentioned the transportation. That was the first thing we asked the community, what would you need? No one had ever provided transportation before. I don't think it's ever been done in the country. I remember when Governor Baker came, when we had the ribbon cutting of this, he came, saw it, and he couldn't believe. I remember that day, it was very special. He came out and he was like, I didn't know sheriffs did things like this. So beside the transportation, which started with one, and Erica touched on the courts, but it's important to even talk about the evolution. We started with Dudley District Court. They had a drug court. We started with them. Before we knew it, Judge McCarthy was calling us from East Brookfield. We'd like to join you. Then we got a call from Judge Eustace down in Milford, and we got a call, Lemire from Uxbridge District Court. So one court after another said, we heard about what you're doing. Could we send clients there? Before we knew it, we had one court, 2, 3, 4. We had 2 drivers, 3 drivers. So it's growing, and I think it's growing because it's good and it's successful and it's helping people. So I'm really proud of this center, as we talked about before we came on air. This has been a long time coming and get to where we are, and we're still growing, we're still getting better, but it's been a real asset to the people of this region, and I wish everybody in America could have a center like this in their communities, because it would make you safer.
I think you're right. On the transportation side, you facilitate their ability to do the right thing.
Yes.
And you don't just give them money and hope they use it for a taxi or Uber or something. You make it happen. You bring them door to door. You make sure they get to where they need to be to get to where they need to be. You know? So that's wonderful.
And one thing on that too, Denise, to tell you, like, transportation, number one, is it's the easiest excuse you have if you're in recovery.
Exactly.
And I couldn't get to my doctor. I couldn't get to my job interview. First of all, you take excuses away. And number two is our drivers are incredible people. They become almost social workers as they get to know these people. And they drive around and they build a bond with them. And this is how it works so well. It's like we only have defined roles in Erica's Center. It's more like everybody's part of a team. And when you walk in there, Erica made an important point, but what people say at the graduations, I mean, as individuals have said, nobody judged me when I walked in. And as I say, we're not judges. You've been judged. Now it's time to help you. And the other thing is, one parent said, which I'll never forget, just got up and said, could I speak? And for example, said, I lost my daughter 22 years ago and you gave her back to me, and things like that, which are very powerful and very important to feel like we're making a difference. So, I mean, Erica and her team, we've brought every single one of them in my time as sheriff, and each one has added something to the programming. And Erica was working in the Women's Center out in Chicopee before, so she has a real sense of reentry programming, and she was the perfect fit to take over this program.
Well, and you're from the area.
Yes, I am a Southbridge native. Yes, so this town means a lot to me, of course. So I'm proud.
You're able to bring your personal local feel to Webster, which is just our neighbor. So it's a little more close to the
We have a number of Southbridge, a number of our clients that live in Southbridge that we pick up and transport. We have over 20% of our clientele. I am proud to say we have over 40 clients that we serve per day and over 200 active clients.
That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you find, you mentioned graduation, so they get their GED, or do you find many that are able to go on beyond? Do you help them to find other training programs or college even, or
we do.
Especially when you think
we do support. If they want further education, we will help them, guide them in the right direction for that. If they're looking for employment, we'll help them with that as well. And we have a number of clients who have graduated with us with our high set, and we followed up with them. And one is they're working either in the field or, hey, I'm working at Amazon now. I have a full-time job. I got my driver's license back. I'm doing all these accomplishments that I never thought I could do. They did it themselves, but with our support, they never had that support. Most of them haven't had that support growing up, and just that encouragement, like Sheriff was mentioning.
The positivity in their life.
It's just wonderful to see. Yes.
That's amazing. So you mentioned you were partnered with multiple courts. You also have many community partners as well.
Yes.
Could you expand on those relationships?
Sure. So part of being, a Southbridge native myself, I focused a lot on just getting the relationships with the library out here and the peer recovery center and the Kiva Center and the town halls, and just getting to know, having them get to know what we do, and that we're not there to cuff people. You know what I mean? We're not the jail and house of correction. You know, we are here, and what the resources are, and then also just so that we have that connection and we can refer people in the right direction as well. As far as Webster goes, I mean, the Webster PD, we're definitely, you know, close relationship with them. We have a good relationship with them. The Webster Food Share, you know, I personally have volunteered there several times. You know, it was yesterday, and I was working my butt off for 4 hours, but it was a very humbling experience. You know, just the people that don't even have a meal for the next meal. You know, it's just really a humbling experience for me. So, yeah.
So you had commented to me before, you know, you help obviously those who are in trouble. You know, they come to you from the courts and such. But I believe you also help community. You're a community resource in general.
Yes.
You don't have to be a criminal. You don't have to have gotten in trouble with the courts. If you know, you offer other community members or locals.
We take members from off the street. You know, or anyone, you know, working with Harrington, UMass out of Webster. We've taken a number of clients from them, different residential programs and things like that come in and say, hey, I didn't know you offer this. And all of our services are free. We don't ask a dime, and they're indefinite. We've had people that have, you know, completed part of their high set or completed one component of their life that they're struggling with, and that we don't see them for 2 years, and then all of a sudden they pop up. We don't turn anybody away.
Well, let me follow up on that, because when these centers started, they were essentially set up to be like adjuncts of the probation department. So basically the centers were set up to say, you were referred here from probation, we'll handle you. They only sent over certain people. You had to need all the services we provided. It was very restrictive. And I kind of came in, and I'll be blunt about this, because the OCC kind of followed our model. I started telling our team, I don't really care what they tell us. We're going to do what we can to help this community. So if you walk in, we don't say, who told you to come? It's like, what do you need? Well, word started spreading. We're a community resource to help people. So if you need a job, if you walk into our place, we'll help you. It's not necessarily our specific job description, but we're all part of this together. I mean, the sheriff, our team, we serve the community. So when Erica mentioned, like, we are so involved for Webster, for example, how we're involved with the food pantry there, and AJ does it's incredible. And we had a House of Reconciliation where Pastor Ford from Webster, she set up, she was initially started as a volunteer pastor at the jail. She built such a relationship with some inmates that she asked her parish, she asked me to pray with her about turning part of her vestry into a halfway house for returning inmates. And they opened their arms to 5 people, and right now they have 5 people, almost all of them, from Worcester House, have a safe place to go in Webster. This is another partnership we have with our center. So we're in the middle of everything in this community, and I can't tell you how proud I am to know, like, when we go to National Night Out, which you go to all the time, you'll see our team there.
Yes,
because they love this community and want to be part of it. So they're locally here, they show up at events, they're always around, and that's how you build networking. And it's like Erica said, she goes to the local towns, she meets the people, you spread the word.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, this encompasses way more than I expected, and I'm really happy to find out all this information. What do people do? You know, okay, so if somebody needs some help, do they just call? They walk in?
So referral process, they could call, they could walk in. We do have we have a referral form that the courts use or any of our partner agencies use, and we'll email that to us as well. But yeah, if there's a case manager available, they can either make an appointment or either that or walk in.
One thing Erica did too, we developed a space we had to utilize as much as we could. In one of the rooms, we call it a community room. So we open it up to after hours. We're open until 7 p.m. So there will groups that come in, whether recovery groups, like you have a place to go. It's a resource, and we don't charge anybody. So it's really special. And you're going to come. I know you're going to come soon, and you're going to come to our next graduation. We'll give you a tour, and you'll see the lab where we have computers to help people with resume writing and job skills. But we have a community room where we have people meet in community. And we also have our drug lab, and it's a very wonderful space of places where we can do our job, but it does a lot more than you would have initially thought.
Well, we will definitely be out there and get a live tour. That would be wonderful to bring a little bit of Southbridge Insider from Webster and give a full tour besides what we've shown today.
Great.
So, is there anything else? Is there any other message you would like the viewers to know, people in the community, from either of you before we close out today?
Just that, I'm happy to be here today, and I'm really happy to be the director of the program and happy as sheriff to elect me in that position. It's been a excellent experience, and just seeing the people come in, day after day, sometimes, if they have to do drug testing or something like that, or just to meet with the education specialist, and just seeing them and just seeing the progress is something that I have really come to really find enjoyable about the job, and just seeing them smile. We have some clients that the first day they come in, they're scared, they're nervous, they might be detoxing them, maybe a lot of mental health stuff going on, and just with us trying to connect them and just showing them that we are a warm environment and we're there to help them. Right. Just seeing them throughout the months and just seeing a smile on their face is really, really enjoyable for me.
A very rewarding experience.
Exactly.
No
yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful that you can create such an environment and people can see that, like you say, non-judgment, and that you facilitate what they need, what they really need,
Right.
And that's
I do want to
wonderful.
say one more thing too is, something that is unique that we offer is the sheriff will pay for mass IDs and for birth certificates. So, and that's a lot of clients don't, or a lot of our participants don't have that, don't have access to that.
Or
And
they
that's
don't even know how to get it.
Don't even know how to get it. So we will even drive them there. We'll set them up with the appointment, and we'll do all that for them, and kind of help them to, for an ID, you need that for a lot of different things. So we will definitely help them do that. And we have a number of groups at our center that we're welcome to, again, all complimentary, all free, for anybody to take advantage of.
Well, again, as I say, great information today, a very important topic. It's very serious, in this day and age, there's a lot more hurt than there is, sometimes that the good, there's a lot, and the fact that you are helping that and healing it.
Yes.
You're healing that hurt and to be as successful, people to make them successful in their futures, I think is marvelous. It just, thank you for sharing this information with us. We look forward to a little bit more with you. Anything else from you, Sheriff Lou?
Well, I'll take advantage of this just to say that, a lot of people didn't know about these programs, and what makes it exciting is I'm tough on crime. I'm a former prosecutor. If people belong in prison, they belong in prison, and I'll be the first one to say that. But you can be tough on crime all day, but you have to be smart on crime, and we've learned that throwing the key away and incarcerating people doesn't work. When they get out, they go back to their old ways. So this is a smart approach. It's expensive, it's time-consuming, it takes great people. But if you can do it the right way, when you have a community center that is diversion, but accountability, and you give people chances, their chances of making it without recommitting crimes, costing you less, keeping you safe, it works. And that's what makes this so exciting to come share it with you and your viewers, is that these programs, believe me, as I said, as a sheriff and as a former prosecutor, I'm not telling you about these touchy-feely programs. These are real, accountable programs that will help people. And if you ultimately get them to buy in, by the staff and the people who care, you can get them to buy in. And once they buy in, they don't want to be that way either. They want to change. Their families are pulling for them. And I'll leave with this last. One thing I tell everybody who we have graduate, either inside the jail or outside, we do social media, we advertise it. Of course we do. I tell any inmate or a person on the program, I say, you don't have to be in this, I understand. Respect your privacy. But I want you to know, when we put these stories out, whether they're in the newspapers or on social media, I have so many followers who are conservatives, some who are liberals, they're all pulling for you. We're all pulling. There's nobody that says, what I hear in my people who I hear from is, I'm so proud of those guys. They're working hard. They want to turn their lives around. That's what this is about, giving people a chance to do better. And in the long run, it works. It's cost effective, and it can make a difference. And I'm proud of it. Yes. So thank you for letting us come in and talk about it.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thanks for coming, being part of Southbridge Meets. Thank you guys for watching today. And we look forward to bringing you some great new programming in the future.